Hello and welcome to this latest episode of Your Middle Matters, where we are going to focus on real, essential, foundational nutrition and lifestyle steps, and really just taking a step back and thinking about where we all actually really need to start with this stuff to make it happen. So welcome to this podcast if this is your first episode that you've listened to. Just to say, this is what I call an intuitive podcast. I don't have a schedule. I don't have a strategy. I literally just record when I feel really compelled to get a message out into the wider world. So this is one of those times. So to give you a little bit of a backstory, I felt compelled to share this because I was listening to a podcast. So obviously I listen to other experts, and I kind of play a game with myself where I'm like, I'll look at the title of a podcast and I'll think, I bet I know what they're going to say. Or as I'm listening, I'm like, I bet they're going to name this food. And so I had this really lovely experience twice this week, actually, where I tuned in and listened to some amazing doctors, female doctors that are out there treating patients, women, every single day. They've got their finger on the research, and I'm not a researcher or a medical doctor, and so there's things that I can't go around saying, oh, these top 5 foods that beat cancer. I can't say that. But what I loved about listening to them, and I will absolutely share their names and details at the end of the podcast, was that these are the things that I teach anyway. And so I was like, right, I have to get this out there because, I can talk about prevention. I can talk about do this stuff because it can help you feel better. And the science shows that you can potentially live a longer, healthier, happier life. But I can't be coming at you with like, eat these top 5 things and it will reduce your chances of this disease by this much percent. So that's the little backstory. So I'm going to share with you some real top foundational, essential nutrition and lifestyle steps that I teach in my membership and my classes, that I follow myself, and then really share the light bulb moment that I had with how to actually get started in a really meaningful way. So before I dive into some of these foundational pieces, I just want to share a couple of phrases. I love phrases like your middle matters is about you understanding that what you do now in midlife matters for the rest of your life. Like, we're at a vulnerable health point. There's no ifs or buts. We're at a vulnerable health point. What we do now really does make a difference to our brains, our hearts, our bones, everything. And so, yeah, your middle matters, but it also refers to your actual middle, like your waist. Like, especially as a woman, we need to be understanding the impact of weight gain around our waist. If you'd asked me 10 years ago that what I would be doing, would I have said I would be helping women to lose weight around the middle? No, I would not have said that. But in following the science and following what people are struggling with, this is where I am. So we love a phrase in my world. And one of the key phrases that Dr. Christy Funk uses, and I absolutely love her. She's a breast cancer surgeon and lifestyle expert. She talks about nutrition a lot. So she, in fact, both the doctors that I want to share with you today use conventional methods and lifestyle and nutrition. So this is why I absolutely love them. But one of her key phrases, which I'm really annoyed I hadn't come up with because I talk about this all the time, is basically what you eat can either choke or stoke. Okay, so it can either choke disease or stoke disease. I refer to it as lighting a fire or putting a fire out. Okay, but choke or stoke is pretty on the money. So I want you to have that in mind when I'm talking about these top sort of foods and approaches to eating, to be thinking, okay, it's that simple. You're either choking or stoking. So let's dive in to these top things then. So the first one, okay, and this is based on, lots and lots of studies. We all know about, the Mediterranean diet. We know about the blue zones. If you don't, look up the longevity hotspots around the world, where we know that the common factors when we look at diets in these places are that they all have a very, very strong plant slant. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone that they need to go vegan, but what I'm saying is that you need to have a plant predominant diet. So in terms of look at the ratio of the food in your diet, whether you look over the space of a day, over the space of a week, the majority of your diet needs to be shifting towards more plants. Okay, so that is undisputable. And in doing that, you're going to be increasing your fiber and just getting a really beautiful spectrum of nutrients in. You need premium level fuel at this stage of life. So plant slants, that's one of the first things. Another really important one. Now, I don't like to hyper-focus on individual things, but within that plant slant, please, can we be focusing on purple foods? Okay, the sports industry knows this, the benefits of purple foods and the special properties. They have so many antioxidant properties, but very specifically, they really help our arteries. Okay, and as a woman in menopause and midlife, your declining estrogen directly impacts your arterial health. Purple foods are there to save the day. The cancer doctor, Dr. Dawn, and I'm not going to try and pronounce her surname because I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm going to share the podcast that she was on with Mel Robbins. She claims that these special properties in purple foods directly help to choke cancer. Okay, we're not talking about eliminating, but she will explain it better. But it has been shown to support recovery, prevention, etc. So we know that if we look at the blue zones, the Okinawan ladies, they live a big proportion of their predominantly plant-based diet is purple sweet potatoes. Now, I know that's harder to get, certainly in the UK, but we can take the principles of, these purple foods. There's something about them that are aiding longevity and heart health and, the anti-inflammatory benefits. I personally eat a lot of sweet potato because they are really anti-inflammatory, but your purple foods, your berries, your aubergines, your beetroots, all of these, they do so many things. Like if you look through the lens of sports, if you look through the lens of heart health, so many benefits. Inflammation, just get the purple foods in there. The next one is your cruciferous veggies, so your leafy greens, so your broccoli, your kale, Brussels sprouts, etc. So they contain something called sulforaphane, which has shown to support this choking rather than stoking effect on disease and cancer. So be getting those in. Obviously, we want to be reducing our ultra processed foods because they stoke. Okay, they stoke. That's simple. I'm not going to go on and on about it. That's why I love a phrase. Okay, the stoke. The next one is obviously movement. Okay, so daily movement. We're not talking about having to have a new fitness regime. We are talking about moving your body in whatever way feels natural to you daily. If that's walking, if it's putting some music on and having a bit of a dance, just moving your body. Now, obviously, we want to be incorporating things like strength training, and in my menopause blueprint, I set out, the essentials for women in midlife and menopause to be starting from. And then the other big one, and this is something that I'm massive on, some doctors talk about more than others, but toxins. So as we go through midlife and as women, we are way more vulnerable to the impact of toxins, fake estrogens, because they mimic estrogen and cause all sorts of havoc in the body. We really need to be getting these toxins out, and to use Dr. Funk's phrase as well, she was like, think about what you're putting in, on and around your body, which sums up everything that I teach so lovely. It's like, think about what you're eating and drinking, think about what you're putting on your skin, so your cosmetics, and think about what's around you as well, so your cleaning products, what you're inhaling, what you're touching regularly. So really getting plastics out of your life, and even clothing. I've gone mad recently on bamboo clothing for exercise. So those are some of the key things. And if you listen to the Mel Robbins podcast with Dr. Dawn, she goes into the science from the perspective of not just a doctor that's treating cancer patients with conventional medicine. She is a cancer survivor herself. She has a heart transplant herself. Like, this woman is absolutely incredible. So she will tell you the science behind it. But in case you haven't got time or the inclination to spend over an hour listening to podcasts, those are the things. Those are the things that I teach, and that these two amazing conventional doctors also teach alongside their medicine. So that being said, how do we actually implement and get started on these things? And this is what led me to such an epiphany, really, about where I'm at and about how I support people to actually implement these things. So I have a foundations model, which is basically 3 levels of foundations that are really essential to be putting in place for your health. And obviously I'm not going to go into massive detail, but just to help you visualize it. So at the bottom, I always have clarity and mind, space to think. Okay, so that is the bottom one. Because if you don't consciously create a little bit of space for yourself, whether that's every month, every week, to focus on your health, your well-being, what you're going to do, how, when you're going to do it, flexibly, obviously, in a way that works for you, like none of this other stuff will happen or happen in a meaningful way. Then we have the middle tier. Now, this is where the real work is, like the real daily essential stuff. So this is like the main foundation, if you like, the essential stuff to do. Okay, so this is your daily approach to eating. So I've got a food framework, so it lists all the food groups and how you can incorporate them on a daily basis, weekly basis. It's about how you manage your blood sugar, how you balance your plate, all of that, just daily simple stuff. Also about toxins, okay, because that is a foundational piece that we need to be thinking about daily as well. And of course, your daily movement, as I said, that just gentle daily, or what gentle, or what's manageable for you. So that sort of regular exercise piece, that's not crazy. And other lifestyle steps, sort of stress management, that kind of thing. So that's the middle tier. That's the daily to-dos. Okay. And then at the top is what I call like the push, or the metabolic stuff, which is like where you're really pushing yourself. So more sort of intense exercise, endurance. You might be taking supplements. This is kind of like where, if you're a bit of an amateur athlete, you're pushing yourself, or if you're not, I live in this bracket at times, not all the time, but I push myself. But that's not the starting point, and that is the problem, that so many people think I need to be doing that stuff, or what I call the hyper focus. So they're focusing on like or I'm doing this supplements, or I'm doing this for my microbiome, and but they haven't got the other stuff in place, you're likely to not see the results that you want to. So those are kind of the foundational things that we need to get in place. But what I wanted to say is that this week I have learned something new through running a different free workshop with a slightly different focus, which was around going from research to results, and just on really like taking time myself to consolidate. And what I've discovered, what I've decided, is that actually that bottom foundation, it is about clarity and all of that comes with it. But actually, what I have decided is that that foundation has to start with love. So love has to come first. So that's where I'm at. So now I am planning how to create that first step as a bridge to doing the nutrition and the movement work. And not everyone will need it, but I think let's do it anyway. Like, what have you got to lose by just saying, I'm going to start this journey with love? Because there's so much wrapped up in that. So much inertia and resistance to changing and choosing ourselves, myself included. Like, I'm going to be 100% honest and say over the last month, I have been working so hard that I haven't been choosing myself. Like, of course, I have probably a higher bare minimum level than other people. But it has been bare minimum, if I'm really honest. And so coming back to love, coming back to self-love, and coming back to those journals that I started writing a few years ago is really important. So that's it. I as we speak, writing and recording a Pause with Love mini something. I think it's going to be audios. It might even be a WhatsApp thing, like something so super easy, but so foundational and so important. I talk about resistance all the time in my membership. And I think this will just really underline it and make it not just like a thing that we talk about at the beginning of each goals session, but actually let's do some deep work, deeper-ish work, and have something that we can all come back to, because I needed to come back to it. And being busy and putting myself out there, I do not regret for 1 minute, because I probably wouldn't have come full circle back to this conclusion. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and I hope you found this podcast useful. I know it's a little bit left field, it's not your average podcast, but it's my little way of sharing, hopefully, useful nuggets with you in a way that resonates. So that's it. Okay, I will try to ensure that all of the links are in the show notes, as the professionals say. However, get in my DMs. Go to Instagram, Jasmine Nutrition Lifestyle, or go to my Facebook page, Jasmine Nutrition Lifestyle, and just, drop a message. Or DM me a word like love, and I'll put you on the list so that when my little Pause with Love product is ready, you'll be the first to get it. If you're in my membership, Pause and Power Up, you will get it anyway, because that's where I put everything. So if you're a member, you will get access to that. Or just tell me what you think as well. I love that. Oh my gosh, I've got so much more that I want to say, but I promised that this was going to be a short podcast, so you don't need to listen to the long ones. So I'm going to sign off there, and yeah, maybe I'll be back again with more on this. But yeah, for now, those are the top things. Remember the phrases. Like, if nothing else, remember the phrases. Am I choking or stoking? My middle matters. What am I putting in, on, and around my body? Like, these are such foundational, essential things to remember. Plant slant, purple. Like, even if all you do is write these words on a post-it and slap it somewhere on your fridge, like, how simple is that? It doesn't need to be complicated. But it has become complicated because there are so many people with so many different angles. But honestly, you just need the foundations, and I can help you get there. So that really is where I'm going to sign off and love you and leave you. Any background noise that I was unable to edit out, just FYI, was my little chocolate Labrador Nala, who decided to snuggle up on the sofa next to me whilst I was recording, clean, snore, and sigh. So any strange noises in the background, that's exactly what that was. Okay, lots of love. Take care.